Alright, so I'm gonna do this tutorial to kind of show you guys how I play as Wraith. I'm doing a bot match on easy, so I can kind of explain things and focus on that versus trying to play PvP or whatever. But again, this is tutorial for how to play Wraith for people who are kind of new to using him. Not so much new to the game, but just new to using him. I'm only going to do about a 15-minute video because after that everything kind of changes up with how you use them, how you play. You're running around doing different lanes, different things. Let me see what deck this is. Yeah, so this deck is actually, I'll do this for I guess people who aren't really familiar with the game as well, but this deck is really simple. Technically you could use that, but I use these cards when I play. I always try to start out with intellect purchase and go with this card because it will restore mana and health as you level up. In early game you level up pretty quickly. Also, I always go with his knock knock ability. Depending on your button setting, it'll be completely different, but mine is L2. You see the cooldown on it is, I believe it's about 5 seconds, but if you land it as a last hit, it reduces that cooldown to 2 seconds. So the concept with him in mid lane is, well, not to push up like this, but you want to keep your distance from the other mid laner. And you also want to keep an eye out for possible ganks because Wraith's health is really low. But what I'll try to do is snipe him and kind of like fall back a little bit. Some people use their abilities to clear minion waves, which is something else you should watch for, because if they're using their abilities on that, then you can go ahead and jump in with the snipe and kind of pick away at their health. Like, people will say you got to poke with them, which is definitely useful. But as you can see, the bot is not really paying attention to me much, but and you see we did about maybe three snipes so far. I'm down to 140 mana, 130 mana, but because of that card I'm back up to 200 something. So that's a couple more snipes that can be used to kill the mid laner. The second skill that I go with is his back it up ability, which is L1. This is useful when you do get ganked. A lot of times the jungler will come in and you have nothing to do other than run, and because your health pool is so small, your best bet is to use your back it up ability, which pulls them back to wherever they were 3 seconds ago. So if somebody's running in a straight line at you and they're trying to chase you, use that ability, it pulls them all the way back. But if they're running in circles or doing weird stuff, it's really it's not really useful to use his ability. The second skill that I typically go with is his who's there ability, and I always throw that right over there so I can keep eyes in the jungle, the enemy jungle. Last thing you want to do is go over there at the 3-minute mark looking for a buff, and the jungler is sitting there waiting for you, because you'll die. Also, if anybody is new to playing mid lane or new to the game in general, the river buffs spawn at the 3-minute mark, and then every 2 minutes from there, that's a river buff, that purple thing I got from there. And again, with Wraith, he can shoot through walls. So that's another tactic that you can use when you're not really familiar with how to play with him, is to kind of sit behind a wall, and you can snipe the mid laner from there. The UAV, or who's there ability, makes it easier for you to see through the walls, so you can also use that to your advantage. Like you see, she's trying to run, it pulls her back. Like, that's the concept behind using Wraith with his abilities, like combining his abilities. And then from here, I'm pretty much trying to level up his knock ability as fast as I can. If I feel like I'm powerful and no one's killing me and they're running a lot, then sometimes I'll do the back it up because it extends the range of the ability. But I'll go with the knock. Typically with the deck that I use, I'll buy the experience card. If I'm doing really well, I don't have to worry about anybody jumping me or anything like that. And then I try to get the Call of the Week card, because that helps out with wave clear, and Wraith doesn't really have the best wave clear at all. So I'll pop this card on. Call of the Week, in case you're not familiar with it, it basically is an instant kill if a minion is lower than 20% health. So it makes his wave clear a lot faster. So I use one agility to get that card. I use one agility to get my quick exit, since I have to recall back to the base pretty often. And then from there, I just focus on getting the intellect maxed out completely, so I can use these cards here.
Enemy has been slain.
Also, if you are new to playing mid lane, a few things you want to be mindful of are your left and right lanes. If your lane is pushed up like mine is right now, we're basically past the river, we're all the way at the tower. And my lane is pretty much set. You could always go left lane or right lane to help out. But yeah, you could go left lane or right lane to help out if you see that their towers are being pushed and they need help. Another thing that you might want to do as a mid laner, or try to keep in mind, is sneaking over here, having a UAV, a who's there present, so when you see the other jungler going for the green buff, you can either sneak and take it away, or if their health is low enough, you can get a good kill or a quick kill off of them. But yeah, I mean, that's the gist of his abilities. Again, from here I would just continue building intellect until you get this card here. I'm gonna go ahead and recall back. So this card I kind of keep around until I get this one here. And I'll either go for the blink card, or I'll go for this, depending on if I'm being pursued, if I can be active. You can always use this to kind of hunt people down when they're on a run from you. It makes it easier to use your back it up ability when you can get closer to them. But outside of that, Wraith, like I mentioned before, he doesn't have that much health, so it's always easier to kind of sit in the back, pick and choose your battles. You don't want to just run into a team fight expecting to come out victorious. Like, doesn't always work out that way. Like in this case, I can pick off one right there. And my positioning right here, if this was PvP, my positioning would be bad because these two could turn on me and kill me. They already left the fight, and then I'd be left here by myself to get killed. So, like I say, positioning is key with Wraith. Also, using his abilities is very helpful. Having his UAV out makes it really easy to snipe through walls and hit your target. Another one of his abilities is he can make the team go invisible. Anybody who's in that radius can go invisible. You can also use your UAV while you're invisible. So if you're trying to sneak up on somebody, you can throw your UAV, you know, around over a wall or something like that. That way you have an idea where they're at before you use your ult. It takes quite a while to refresh, and you only go invisible for about 8 seconds or so initially. So until you level it up, it's more so an escape than something you use to actively like engage in the fight. Again, knock knock, I always personally want to level that up as much as I can, as fast as possible. So like UAV lets me see this guy. You can also use back it up through walls as well, if you haven't leveled up enough, obviously. Also, if you're new to playing ranged characters, another thing to keep in mind is the travel time for your bullets. Like if you're moving, it doesn't really go exactly where you're aiming. So if somebody was running, you'd have to aim ahead to catch them. Like you can't just aim at their... Well, he's running straight. But yeah, you can't just aim straight at the person if they're running like sideways or trying to dodge and juke around your movements. You kind of gotta aim ahead. Same thing with the snipe. It's not like an instant point and click. You kind of have to aim ahead or aim where you think they're going. So moving targets is kind of hard like that. You have to aim behind her. So you always want to aim ahead a little bit in the direction you think they're going, whether they're running left, right, back, forward, doesn't really matter. And again, that's the concept behind all of his skills and abilities. You want to use the UAV to get eyes behind walls. Again, that allows you to snipe through walls, or that allows you to see where you're sniping. You can snipe through walls regardless of if you can see or not. It also allows you to pull people back through walls as long as you have sight on them. I mean, that's pretty much it for Wraith. He's a really simple champ. He doesn't have that many different abilities to use. I tend to personally build him for intellect so we can have more mana. Since you're going to be kind of sitting in the back of team fights, sniping, trying to pick off people, you're not really going to be up close and personal. If I were playing like a bot match and got really close to a team fight, I would just get absolutely destroyed. But if you guys want like more details around a specific topic with Wraith, or a specific build, or where to start as far as which cards or a specific deck to use, I have other videos already created, different playlists. I have a playlist with different gameplay and showing different decks that you can definitely test out. You can always just add comments and ask specific questions. I'll be more than glad to answer. I typically play him as a mid laner, but I've seen people play him in the off lane, and I've recently just put up a video of me playing him in support, and it worked out pretty well. So yeah, I just wanted to put this together for you guys so you have something to reference with his abilities and kind of get the gist of how to use him. But again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. Let me know if you have any more questions, or if you want a more in-depth guide on how to use them, or a full gameplay video or anything like that. Catch you guys later.